Yo, Courtesy Bars here. March 2nd, Sunday. That's when this is recorded. Sometimes we lose confidence in ourselves because we'll set a promise. We don't keep promises to ourselves, right? So I want to take it a step further. So at the end of the day, we're trying to accomplish certain goals, but a lot of times we won't set many goals in the middle of like the bigger goal. There's a bigger goal, and then you set mini goals in between that. You have to set dates in between that to get to the main goal. We just think we have a goal in our head, and we just say to ourselves, a year from now, I'm pretty sure I would have accomplished that. No, you have to set a routine and a schedule how you get things done. So that's what leads me to the point of saying you have to set appointments with yourself. So it's not just about setting goals, it's about setting appointments with yourself and keeping them. Not just promises, not just goals, but also setting appointments. And what I mean by that is take going to work. Technically, when you're going to work, you're basically, you're keeping appointments on behalf of a company. When you go to school or you go to college, you've set that up in a way to where, okay, 3-4 years, you're going to be done with school, or maybe 8 years, depending on, you have to. A lot of people don't want to deal with the time scale of it. A lot of people are kind of scared of what all that time passes, and they get intimidated by the idea of that time passing. But the reality is you have to set goals with a certain time frame in mind, and it might be a few years, but to do that, you set goals, but between that, you have to set appointments. And those classes that you take every week or every month, or however it's done, every once, twice, 3 times a week, those are the appointments that you take to deal with the weekly goals that you make, weekly or monthly goals that you make, as far as it's like setting up a quota for yourself, and eventually it amounts to, it will run over to the point that it will fulfill your quota. So, not to sound redundant, but that's what it is. It's all going to roll over to fulfill a quota, and that's due to setting an appointment with yourself. Just like, you go to the doctor's office, you have certain visits and things that certain meetings that you have to do that with businesses. That's why they do a daily meeting, a weekly or daily meeting for businesses, so they can correspond with each other to make sure that they're on task. We get annoyed about the morning meeting every day, but at the end of the day, those people at the top have to have that meeting just to make sure that everything continues to run smoothly, no matter how redundant or how annoying it may seem to us. If being able to, it's like when we get afraid of asking, sometimes we're afraid of asking stupid questions, but it's like, no, say those answers and say those things as many times as you need to say them, because that, even with being repetitive, we still find ourselves making mistakes as human beings. So having a continuous, consistent meeting makes sense. Just like having a consistent appointment to make sure that certain goals are getting accomplished every week or every month. That makes sure that the bigger goal in a few years, the goal that's going to take a few years, gets accomplished. So lean into setting appointments for yourself. Not just for the people you work for, the friends you work for, making sure you have an appointment where it's let's meet up, let's kick it. But you gotta set daily appointments as far as, I need to work on this at this time. I need to do this around this time of the day. And it's not gonna be perfect, but you're trying to get to a point where you have somewhere a routine or a schedule. And guess what? You're gonna miss the mark sometimes. Sometimes instead of, like me, I wanna write at 6 or 6:30, and I might not get home till 7. But the reality is okay, as soon as I can get changed, I can get into the right position or whatever, or as far as I can clear everything off my plate, I should be able to sit down and write. Or maybe I'll just stop right then wherever I'm at and write. Which I know you have things that you have to do every day because you're an adult. That's just life. I get it. But it's you gotta find a way to make appointments with yourself to get things done consistently. Like those goals that you want to be, you want to be in a certain field of work or an occupation or a career change or something that you want to do down the line, you have to make appointments for yourself to get ready, to put yourself in the best position to be able to do that. You have to study, you got to get ready, you got to get there, but you have to make appointments with yourself to be able to sustain, to basically put you in the best position to be able to, when the opportunity comes, you will be in a good position to actually take on that new responsibility, and it won't hurt you as bad. You will be ready for it. So you have to prepare yourself for that. So you have to consistently you have to start keeping the promises to yourself. But rather than dealing with the idea of the intimidation of promises, or dropping promises, make many appointments with yourself and see how many of those you can keep each week. You make promises or you make appointments with your friends, your family, your job all the time. You can do a few appointments for yourself. Anyway, I love you.